Hey, this is Adrian from Live to Learn Academy, and today we're going to be going through lesson 4.1, solving polynomial equations. Now, for those of you guys who haven't yet subscribed to the channel, feel free to subscribe to the channel, drop a like, drop a comment if you have any questions regarding this particular unit, as it really helps grow the channel. If you're somebody who needs tutoring for advanced functions, feel free to click the link in our description where you can get in contact with our team to help you out with this course. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. So this lesson, guys, this chapter 4.1, we're talking about solving polynomial equations. So remember, a polynomial equation, so let's look at a polynomial equation. So for example, this polynomial equation, x cubed minus 6x squared minus x plus 30 equals 0. So whenever it asks us to solve a polynomial equation, all it's asking us, so solving just means find the roots. Okay, so whenever it says solving a polynomial equation, it means find the roots. And how do we find the roots? We have to factor. Okay, so there's different ways we can factor, and this is something we want to be aware of. What are the different ways we can factor a polynomial function? Okay, so especially when we're talking about cubic functions, one of the ways we can factor is we can use factor theorem, which I'm going to teach you today, in combination with synthetic division. This is one way we can factor. The other way we can factor is we can use difference of sums and cubes. Sorry, not difference of sum and cubes. What am I saying? Sum or difference of cubes. So this is what we did in lesson 3.7. And the third way we can also do is factor by grouping. Okay, so these are all different ways in how we can solve for these cubic functions. So cubic functions because it starts with x cubed in the polynomial. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is factor theorem and synthetic division. This is the most common method that you guys are going to be using in the course Advanced Functions, and that's what this video is going to be all about. So let's review. What is factor theorem, right? Factor theorem is basically what we're trying to do with factor theorem is we're trying to determine if something's a factor. So what we're going to do is we're going to take p at a certain number, whatever number that is, and we're going to see if it equals 0. If that number does make the function equal 0, then we know that number is a factor. Okay? Now sometimes you may see it in your textbooks written as this: p at a is equal to 0, then x minus a is a factor. Now the reason we're using factor theorem at first, this method is actually a guess and check method to get that first factor. Because once we get that first factor, what we're then going to do is we're going to take that a and we're going to do synthetic division with the rest of the polynomial in order to get a quadratic here. This will give us a quadratic, which will then factor into two new factors, which will be the three factors. So the a will give us the first factor, and then when we do a synthetic division with that factor, we will end up with a quadratic, which will get us the other two factors. And that will be how we factor the cubic function so we can solve for the roots after. So factor theorem, the main thing is we got to guess and check. So the rule of thumb when you're doing these questions, guys, and you're guessing and checking, and I've done hundreds of thousands of these questions, these are the 5 numbers you want to really check. Majority of the time, one of these is going to be the key that unlocks the lock. Okay? One of these is going to be the number that when you plug it in as x, you're going to get 0. So I would always recommend, I'm just going to star this over here because I want you guys to take note of this. This is something that's very important when it comes to guessing and checking. A lot of people waste so much time on a test because they just can't guess and check fast enough. Okay? This cuts out that guesswork. Go with these numbers right away and you're going to make your life a lot easier. So let's see how this looks like in practice. Let's try an example. And I think once you guys see an example, you guys are really going to understand how this stuff works. So let's say the function is x cubed minus 6x squared minus x plus 30 equals 0. Okay, so first we're going to guess and check a function. Now, I already know that negative 2 is going to work. So p at negative 2 is equal to negative 2 cubed minus 6 times negative 2 squared minus negative 2 plus 30. And we're going to find out what that is. This is going to be negative 8, 4, 24 plus 2 plus 30. So negative 8, 4, so negative 24. This is negative 32 plus 32. Boom, we get 0. So p at negative 2 is equal to 0. Therefore, x plus 2 is a factor. So the guessing and checking is really just to get that first factor. Once we get that first factor, we're going to actually do a synthetic division with that negative 2 that we found, which was our a value. And synthetic division from the previous lessons, if you guys don't remember how to do synthetic division, you can't do any of these questions. So if you're struggling with synthetic division, go look at the lesson on synthetic division. I had it. Just look through the playlist. You'll be able to find it. So once we get to this synthetic division, we're just going to bang this out. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. And then remember, synthetic division, we're always adding as we go down. So negative 6 plus negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 2 times negative 8 is 16. Then we got negative 15. We got positive 15. And then negative 30. And then 0 is our remainder. So now, all this synthetic division did is it gives us this quadratic because this is the quadratic that's going to help us unlock the question. So you got 1 squared minus 8x plus 15. Now that we got this quadratic, we can actually just use simple factoring that we learned in grade 10 of how to factor this quadratic. So x minus 5 and x minus 3, and then boom, there you have it. You got your 3 factors. So the first factor was from the guess and check. The other 2 you got from here, the quadratic. So now, when we put it all together, we're going to have x plus 2, x minus 5, x minus 3 equals 0. All I did when these questions are saying solve the polynomial equation, all it's asking you to do is factor it and then find the roots. So let's find the roots. X plus 2, we know that's going to be x equals negative 2. X minus 5, we know that's going to be x equals 5. X minus 3, we know that's going to be x equals 3. And these 3 are your answers. And it's as simple as that. So let's go back to the process of how we did it. The first thing we have to do is we got to use factor theorem. So we got to guess and check to find out which value equals 0. Once we guess and check, using the cheat sheet I'm giving you right here, once we guess and check, it usually is one of these numbers to unlock the door. We guess and check. Once we guess and check, we do the synthetic division. So we guess and check. We got p at negative 2 is what gave us 0. So we know x plus 2 is a factor. Then we did the synthetic division to find the quadratic. After we find the quadratic, we split that up by factoring it normally. And then boom, there you have it. Once you get this final function, all you got to do is find the roots by setting each of these factors to 0. So x plus 2 equals 0 will give me x equals negative 2. X minus 5 equals 0 gives me x equals 5. And x minus 3 equals 0 gives me x equals 3. So hopefully this makes a lot of sense, guys. This is the main concept that you need to learn for this lesson. If you're struggling with advanced functions and you need help with the course and you require tutoring, feel free to click the link in our description. Our team would love to get in touch with you guys. If you found this video helpful, share it to your friends, share it to your classmates. It really helps the channel grow. And subscribe for more videos like this. We post every day, Monday to Friday at 3 p.m. So stay tuned for the next videos. Without further ado, I'll see you guys next time.